Is now the right time to buy or sell a home in Mobile? If you've been trying to stay on top of the market and make informed decisions, this video has the answers that you've been looking for. Hi, I'm Asher Anderson, a realtor with Roberts Brothers Inc. here in Mobile, Alabama. In today's real estate market report, we're going to break down everything you need to know. Are home prices rising or falling? Is it a buyer's or seller's market? And just where is this real estate market trending? If you're thinking about selling your home, don't miss the link in the description to get a quick free estimate of your home's worth just by entering your address. Let's dive right into it. This is the October 2024 housing market report for Mobile, Alabama, the entire county of Mobile, not just the city. And as a reminder, the October housing market report means that we're looking at September's data that just wrapped up. So all the data you see in here will be for the month of September that we're looking at. The basic relationships in housing market economics are the same as those in other economic sectors, and this is supply and demand. So price is a function of supply and demand, and we're going to look at quite a few different metrics that either fall into the category of being a supply metric, a demand metric, or a function of supply and demand. Let's go ahead and look at our first ones. So the housing market supply, the metrics are going to be the total inventory and the new listings. For inventory, so total inventory or current inventory, this indicates the total number of homes available for sale at a specific point in time. Let's look over here at the graph and see what numbers we have. For September, so all of these on the x-axis is September, the month of September for different years. So September of 2024, we had 1,237 houses actively for sale. We can look over here at this chart where I just compiled it so we can see kind of the changes easily. A year ago, we had in 2023, 901 homes for sale. So this is a fairly large increase. It's a 37% increase from year over year or this time last year. However, 3 years ago, it's 50%. So here in 2021, you can see it's also a pretty large increase. So if we look back at the levels pre-COVID, it was 1,460. Right now, we're at 1,237. So we're not quite as high as the inventory before COVID, but our inventory is tracking up, especially since last year. Our next metric is going to be the new listings. This refers to the number of homes newly listed for sale during a current time period. So again, we have all these September years. At the bottom, we're going to pull up this. Listed this past September of 2024, there were 456 homes. This is fairly similar to last year. The reason why we're really looking at last year instead of last month is because if you look at the previous month, you can often see changes. Like right here, we have an 11% change from last month. However, there are seasonal changes that happen every year where like in the spring, you have a lot of homes that come on the market, and then they kind of taper off into the fall and the winter. So if we look at month over month, it can kind of skew the data, not really be a super useful metric, where it's often better to get a more real picture of the data by looking at year over year. So that's why we're talking more about year over year. So we can see the same time last year, what was the market doing? New listings, we had 456. Last year is 468. So really not too much difference, a 3% decrease. From 3 years ago, we had 546, that's a 16% decrease, but nothing too huge. I mean, our new listings for over the past 10 years have been relatively consistent, even during COVID. The housing market demand, so we're gonna look at home sales and interest rates. Home sales, this is a metric that shows how many homes have actually been sold within a given period of time. Looking at the data in 2024, this past September only had 302 home sales. This is, on par, pretty much it was this low back in 2014, but since the last September of 2023, it was 368. So that's an 18% decrease. It's quite a bit lower in demand or how many people are buying homes. And since 3 years ago, kind of the peak of COVID, it's 38% down. So, on this previous graph, we had the new listings were remaining basically the same each year coming into the market, but then we have a decrease in the homes sold. So that means that the inventory starts to build up, or there are more homes available on the market, and that's what we saw in that first graph. Going on to interest rates. So interest rates, they heavily influence the demand of homes because, the rates control what buyers have to pay when they're borrowing money. So it really affects how much they can afford to buy. The rates have been decreasing lately. Right now, the current 30-year mortgage rate is about 6.08, and this is down from 7.79%, which happened about October of last year was the high point, and prices or interest rates have been dropping fairly steadily since then. We had a little bit of a peak increase. Lower rates making buying a home more affordable, and that can increase demand. So if rates continue to go down, usually demand lags behind it a little bit, but typically lower rates start to increase the demand. I mean, there are many other factors like employment and the general economy for housing market demand. But if rates go down, usually you'll see increases in home sales lagged a few months later. Functions of supply and demand. These are going to be the median sold price, the price per square foot, days on market, and months of supply. So this first one, we're going to look at the median sold price, what a lot of people are interested in for a good reason. This is the middle value of sold home prices, showing buyers and sellers what kind of prices homes are actually selling for, not the listing price. This past September of 2024, the median sold home price in Mobile County was $227,000. And this is actually down from 2023 September. It was $235,000. So we can look over here at this graph. It's about 3% down, not huge, but that is trending down, and kind of the first large trend down since 2014. This would be expected since we are getting more supply in the market, and the demand that we looked at was staying relatively the same. Makes sense then that prices weaken or soften a little bit. Since 3 years ago though, so 2021, kind of the height of COVID again, we're still up 14%, but a little price softening since last September. Next up, let's look at the price per square foot. So this shows the average price for a square foot in home sales. Let's look at this number. So in 2024, this past September of 2024, it was $144 per square foot. And this is up from 2023, where it was $131 per square foot. And this I find very interesting because the price per square foot went up, even though when we look at the last graph, the median sales price actually went down. But the price per square foot, often that would indicate then that the homes are, getting more. Of course, it's showing the homes are getting more expensive per square foot, so potentially more smaller size homes are selling, and some new home builders have started making smaller homes, not quite as large as they were a few years ago, to help be able to lower the cost. And that could be what we're seeing right here, why the price per square foot still gone up, whereas the general price had ticked down a little bit. So since last year, it's gone up 10%, so sizable, and since 3 years ago, it's gone up 19%. And that's just what we were talking about. Even though the median price is down year over year, the cost per square foot is up 10%. Now let's look at the homes in each price bracket. So if you're looking to buy a home in Mobile, here's where a lot of the homes are going to fall from this past month, or this is from the past month of home sales. We can see that the most common price bracket, where 65 homes sold in, was $200,000 to $250,000, followed by $150,000 to $200,000. There were 54 homes, and then 39 homes are sold between $250,000 and $300,000. So these three right here are going to be the most common ones. Of course, there are quite a few on the lower end side as well, and then a few on the higher side. But if you're looking to buy a home in Mobile County, or in the city or the county, a lot of the homes are going to trend in this 150 to 300, 350 range. Days on market. This is a function, again, of supply and demand. This shows, this measures how long homes typically stay on the market before being sold. In 2024, the September of 2024, there's a median days on market of 30. And this is up since last year, where the median days on market was 15 days a year ago. It's a 100% increase. From 3 years ago, it was 11 days was the median. So that's a 173% increase. We can see right here, and this number really isn't that abnormal. We can see before COVID, it was 27, 31, and even 2014 of September 2014, it was 83. So it's just kind of, it almost seems to be normalizing a little bit. Now, what does this mean? So if the days on market are increasing, that means when a home hits the market, it sits a little longer, takes a little longer to sell. Often that can give the buyers a bit more negotiating room when the homes aren't, getting multiple offers right in the first week and going off the market really fast. So typically longer days on market is going to give the buyers a little more negotiating power. But again, 30 days really isn't very long for days on market. Next up is going to be the months of inventory. So this one's a really cool stat. This is a calculation of how long the current inventory of homes would last at the current rate of sales if no new listings were added. And let's pull up this metric. So this metric looks at, like, say we have 1,200 homes on the market right now, and last month 300 were purchased off the market. Then we'd take the 1,200 divided by 300, and that would give us 4. And that would say that if no new homes were added to the market and people kept buying them at 300 a month, then it would take 4 months to eat up all of those homes. And that's about where we are actually right now. So September of 2024, we're at 4.1 months. And September of 2023, it was 2.4 months. So a pretty large increase. Coming over here to the left, we can see that from the 2.4, that's a 67% increase going up to the 4.1 this month. And 3 years ago it was 1.7, so it's a 144% increase. But again, as has been, a pretty common thing we've seen in 2019 before everything changed during the COVID time, it was 3.8, so fairly similar to what it was the year before, 2020. Looking at this, as the months of inventory goes up, it's a good measure of whether or not it's a buyer's or seller's market. So is it a buyer's or a seller's market with 4.1 months of inventory? Well, a seller's market is when there's less than 5 months of inventory. Is what's generally thought of. A neutral market is often considered 5 to 7 months of inventory. And then a buyer's market is generally when it's greater than 7 months of inventory. So the current months of inventory being around 4 by textbook definition, this makes it still a seller's market. So sellers still tend to have the advantage, but those months of inventory that we just looked at are trending up year over year. So this is probably going to give the buyers, a little more leverage in the negotiations, while sellers will often maintain the upper hand. Small concessions are fairly common though, and prices, have softened just a little bit from what we saw. So is it a good time to buy or sell in Mobile, Alabama? And unfortunately, that's not a question that I can straight up answer for you. Often it comes down to your own personal needs and financial situations. So it's rare for there to be a market where it's like, yes, go buy a home, yes, go sell a home. It comes down to your own needs. So if you need more space, or if you need less space, or you need to be in a different area in your financial situation allows it, that's when it's usually best. I always want you to make decisions that are best for you, not based on speculations like, oh, the prices are going to go up, so I'm going to do this, or the prices are going to go down, so I'm going to do this, because that can put you in a bad place if you really didn't have the need or the means to do it in the first place. So to recap, the Mobile housing market is regaining some of the pre-COVID inventory, and prices have come down just a little bit year over year. However, sellers still usually hold the advantage when negotiating. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, being informed is going to be your greatest advantage. If you found this update helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future updates. And if you're curious about your own home's value, check the link in the description for an instant home evaluation, or feel free to reach out to me directly and I'd be happy to help you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video where we take a look at the new home market here in Mobile.